I'm a homeschooling mom of 2 out of my 3 kids, and this is a science curriculum I am using for my going into 4th and going into 2nd grade. So this past year was our first year homeschooling, and I did receive this a few months ago, but we're finally diving into it. My first year, I wanted to give us a little bit of grace and a little bit of time to really do the core stuff, getting in our math, our language arts, and our reading, and we finished all of that. We're good to go. They're a year-round homeschooling family. I just feel like I love that flexibility of it, and we're gonna really dive into science, history, Bible, Spanish I'm still trying to find, and homesteading. So I'll do a separate video on all of those as well. But we are loving this earth science from Apologia, and I'm going to show you about it. So this is the textbook for earth science, and when you get into it, we are on lesson 4 right now. I'm going to go back and show you lesson 3 because we just finished that today, and I wanted to do this video because I'm so excited for this. What I love is, first, you can order the notebook, and this can be used up to, I believe, 8th grade. So there's a elementary junior notebook, and there is a middle school advanced notebook. So in the notebook, it gives you all of your lesson plans, and there are multiple activities for each lesson. Super cool, super fun. So each lesson also has a coloring page, which to start with, coloring page is perfect so that we can just go over the overview of what we're going to be learning, and then you get into more of the cutting and the pasting. There are note pages. My kids are not note takers. It's okay. They're only 9 and 7. They'll be 10 and 8 soon. But I'm going to go to lesson 3 here. But I'm going to go to lesson 3 here, and I'm going to show you, we have our coloring page, they have their note-taking page, but I will say we do this like on the couch, and they can color either on the couch or they can sit at their desk, which is right behind the couch, and they actually were sitting right next to me reading through the pages with me. So what I love is it talks about all of your normal vocabulary. It has different photos of the different types of spheres, which they were like, ooh, that's really cool. And this is what made me want to do this video for you, because this is going to be super cool. This is building a geosphere. Geosphere is basically the dirt and the core of our earth. So you start with your geosphere, and this is a big project. So we didn't start today, but we're going to start this weekend. So it's a paper mache balloon geosphere, and then you're building your earth on top of it. So before we get to the next lesson where it shows you how to build your geosphere and your earth, I just want to show you, like, as we're going through the lesson, there's different references so that you can talk to them and show them the different mantle, the core, things like that. And then we got into the layers of our atmosphere. So then, as I'm reading this page, they are filling out this page. And then it's a lot of information on these 2 pages, but what was really cool was I would say that to them, okay, surrounding this layer is the stratosphere. So I pointed to the stratosphere, and they wrote in their stratosphere. So it is, while we're reading, it's interactive, and they're starting to understand it. Now, one thing in the beginning of this lesson, it said, we don't expect you to memorize everything. We're going to learn this at a later date as well. And I also read an article recently that, like, kids will lose this information within a few days of actually reading it unless they're super interested in it. So if you think about it, back in like 3rd and 4th grade, I don't remember anything. So I'm not really honing on like memorizing, and in 2 days I'm not going to be like, what part of the atmosphere do we live in? The troposphere. Like, I'm not expecting that. I want them to learn and have fun with this. Okay, so then we get into lesson 4, and this is what I wanted to show you. The geosphere that you made in lesson 3 is going to follow you through the rest of the book. So we're learning about mapping our world, and it talks about latitude and longitude, and then they are going to draw their latitude and longitude and their degrees on their geosphere. How cool! And then in lesson 5, they are going to paint their continents on their geosphere. Oh my God, I'm so excited. Okay, so then you skip 5 and then you go into 6, making your mountain ranges. So this is gonna get a little intense. It's gonna be a lot of projects, a lot of, looks like here you use like cotton balls, oh, more tissue paper. Looks like you use more tissue paper. I'm sure you can use more cotton balls. Now, Apologia does offer where you can buy every single piece of material in a box set so that you don't have to be looking for any of the materials. I felt that a lot of things we had at home, so I didn't need to rebuy like baking soda and things like that. But if you want it all in one, they have that package for you. I feel like when they get older, I might need that for like if they do labs and stuff like that. And then later on in lesson 6, they're adding islands. How cool. I'm so excited. These lessons have actually been like really interesting, and like it doesn't just talk about like the facts and everything, but it gives more of like first of all, a biblical perspective, and then also it gives a more modern perspective to it. So it talks about like the different animals and maybe different types of food, things like that they went through was actually really, really cool and very interesting. So it looks like in lesson 11 is when you finish your globe and you're adding the different types of fresh water. And okay, so this is like the last one. So like your globe is finished by lesson 11. And now you're adding more colors. So this might be a little bit more advanced for older kids, but you can add like your rainforest, your grassland. You can put different animals, and you can put like naming of the countries and everything on there too. So they will have like a full end of the year project. Now this does have 14 lessons, and it does do it so like they're not super long lessons. So I do remember in lesson 2 it was a lot, like we started talking about space, and then in your student guide here it tells you lesson 1, the observable universe, lesson 2, life in the habitable zone. So then you continue with lesson 3, life in the habitable zone. Lesson 3 here, spheres of the earth. Lesson 3. So it's like it's cut out through the weeks, so you're not doing science every single day. Now this summer we're finishing up a little bit of math, and then they are doing more like Evan Moore review books just to keep them active and have fun things to do. So like they have word searches. We're definitely doing spelling. I feel like their language arts and their reading program didn't have enough spelling. So obviously they're reading it and then they're spelling it over 4 days. So that has been really cool for them to see. But we're doing a lot of independent work in the morning. Once my toddler goes down for a nap, then we will like really hit this hard. So we just did all of lesson 3 in one day. And I do plan to do all of lesson 4 in one day as well. So some of the lessons may be a lot and we might split it in 2, but my goal is that we really hit hard on our history, Bible, religion, Spanish, and science. I will be doing a whole overview of all of the other curriculums we have, and this is going into year 2 of homeschooling, and I'm loving it.